It's still so cold. I do not like the winter time at all. So today we're going to finish up our end table. We have to cut our top. Probably also going to polyurethane and fix a couple things as well. So let's get it. So here are pieces we originally cut for our top. Oh my God! For our top. They're too long because earlier I believe I wanted to make it so that it was 18 inches across, but because this side and this side, I ran it up, I guess. We're not gonna have 18 inches across because that would be from here all the way to here. So that would look something like that. And I don't want the live edging here to be covered up by anything. So we're going to, I think this is a 15-inch cut. So I think we're gonna cut all of these here to 15 inches. And the next thing I need to make sure of is that I had cut enough pieces for it to go from here all the way over in terms of each width of the boards. So you can see here I have a bit of space. I'd say that's about an inch, inch and a half, something like that. I don't know if I'm going to kind of space them out so that they, you know, so that that space is covered a little more like this, I guess. Something like that, I guess. The reason I didn't originally want to do that, the rest of the table, the spacings are very, very tiny. So the spacings here will be a bit wider. I think it'd be fine though. The only reason that I even bring it up is because this is an end table. So, you know, you're gonna be putting drinks on here. If the spacing is too wide and you put something that has a lot of width to it, right? Like a cup or something, that spacing could allow that cup to kind of tip a little bit. And I don't ever want stuff to, you know, spill because of the way that it's made. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't ever be because of something I did. This is Rebel. Say hi, bro. What's up? This is Mac's brother. I don't know if I've introduced you guys to Mac. Mac's my kitty. What's up, bro? So Rebel Wilson, we thought was a girl, and we originally named him Frankie, which is typically a dude's name, but then we figured out he was a dude, so then we had to reverse it and make it even more complicated. So now Frankie's name is Rebel Wilson. It makes no sense, but it's hilarious. So we'll go ahead and start cutting the top. So the first thing I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make sure that this measurement right here is 15 inches, because if that's 15 inches, that is what I'm gonna cut each of these boards to. Oh, buddy. Got our measurement right there, all the way over. It's going to be, I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I can zoom into that. Yeah, 15 inches right there. So each one of these boards will be 15 inches. I was right. So I don't know whose dog this is, but I left my doors open for lighting and he came in. So we hanging out with this dude. Oh, he did something. Bro, hey, what are you doing? Dude. Oh, you want me to throw it? You want me to throw it? Okay, okay. You ready? Oh. Okay, bro, we got work. Okay, we got work. Can we work, please? Can we please? Okay, dude. Okay, dude. No, I gotta put an end table together, man. What we do? Hey, dude. Hey. This ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. Hey, listen. You can help me cut. You wanna help me cut? I can't fetch, but I can cut. You wanna do that? Yeah. Yeah. Here. Okay, fine. The entire time I'm doing this video, I'm gonna start playing fetch with this dog. So if I'm throwing, that's why. 15-inch boards. Okay, we're gonna get her cut there, Bo. I'm gonna do a stop block like I showed you in the first part. So I'll link it if you want to see how I set it up, because I don't wanna keep explaining the same thing over and over. Your look is hilarious, bro. I love it. So something I wanted to mention too, because I am notorious for this. When you are cutting one of these boards, okay, you don't want to like start your blade and just go like that. You want to kind of ease it in like you're like a butter knife through butter. If you cut it super fast, like all the way through real quick, your blade will dull a lot quicker. I have done that to several blades. But you know, it takes practice to learn this stuff, so just keep that in mind. It can get expensive. We now have, our top. However, as you can see, because I left, you can see our top pieces don't quite fit in there. All I do is take a blade length off and we'll be good. This dog is non-stop, y'all. Each blade length is 1/8 of an inch wide. I know every time I make a cut, if it's just a blade length, it's gonna be 1/8 of an inch. So I have to keep that in mind in terms of like my math for any time I'm cutting a blade length off, if that makes sense. It is freezing. Okay, let's see if she fits now. Okay, that's too tight of a fit. I feel like if I used a hammer, I could probably hit it in there, but I don't want to do that because you see how I have that little whatever? That is what I don't want, because then the table ain't flat. There's a way to get that off too. You use an iron and some other stuff, but I'll save that for another video. So, because 1/2 of a blade length didn't work, which is a 1/16, I'm gonna use a full blade length, which again, I'm just gonna cut 1/2 again, because that would give me my full blade length on this one, and I think that will get us, because we're so close. So another 1/2 of a, oh my god, don't ever put your head like this. Another 1/2 of a blade length, like I said. Moment of truth, let's see if she fits. Hey. Another problem. It's not really a problem, it's just something I didn't really foresee. So the width of these things is 1.5 inches. This is sticking up because the measurement from the bottom of my frame here to the top of here is less than 1.5 inches. It's probably like 1 inch, I'm not quite sure. But the way that I can get this correct in terms of leveling out to here, because that's what I want this to match this. I don't want this leveling, or this, whatever you call this little step. I'm gonna cut it in half, and that will get us to what we need. So, how do you measure for that? It's pretty easy, I'll show you. So I think this is called scribing. Take a pencil, and whichever side you want to be like the face of your top. Okay, so in my case, I want this to be the side that you see from the top, if that makes sense. I'll show you here in a second. This part is going to be what's seen, okay? So I'm gonna flip it over to this ugliness or whatever, and I'm gonna find this line right here, okay? That's the line we want to cut. Once we cut that line, we'll be perfectly level. So make sure I'm all the way down on both ends. So put your pencil there, hold it down, and then just draw your line. You can see that we're going to be flush with this. And the reason I turned it upside down, when I cut this, I don't want the end that I cut to be shown. I want just the face to be shown. So the end that I cut right here, this will be where the blade goes basically, and then we'll be in good shape. I like to keep the factory edging and the factory facing. The only thing I would do to it at all is sand it. You could, if say you had, so there's my line that I have to cut at. So how do I make that cut? I could use this chop saw, but that would make me have to do it like this, and you can see I don't have a fence right there. I'm not gonna get all the way through, and the chop saw only comes out so far, so I'm not gonna be able to get the full length of this. So to the table saw we go. This saw is gonna make editing real fun. So on my table saw, let me spin it around town. I'm gonna pick my blade up. Not sure if you can see that, but we're just barely over it. This is my face. This is the end that will be cut, which will be face down on the end table like that. So I have to find whatever this measurement here is. I hope you can see that. It's an inch. So to make this cut here, what I need is this is called a rip fence. Anytime you cut a 2x4 vertically, like say the blade goes like this, that's called ripping.
The ripping and the tearing.
So I'm gonna rip this 2x4. I don't want to use this rip fence though, because unfortunately, it's kind of a piece of shit. It gives me crooked lines, like it moves as I'm using it, and that is incredibly annoying. So I want to get something straight, and I want to make sure it's square, and I'll show you how to do that next. Take a board that's longer than your table saw and still has the factory edges. That's not gonna work. That's a little long, but it's fine. So what I'll need, 2 clamps and a board longer than your table saw. I know that the cut I need for this is an inch long, so don't use this. I would use a tape measure. It's just a little easier to deal with. This right here is going to be a makeshift rip fence. I'm gonna go ahead and measure 1 inch from the blade. I want to line this up with my tape measure. We have our inch right there. Now that I have my inch of space here, and I clamp her against my table saw. I hope you saw that as I clamped this, it moved like this. So on the other end, I have to adjust it again and then remeasure so that I know I'm getting the same measurement every time. So now I'm clamped up. I have my inch of space right here, so that when I put this through here, like that, it will give me my cut. Make sure you know which end you're using. In my case, I'm using this end here, so I want to put it through the blade so that this end falls back. But before I do that, I have to move this clamp to this side so that when I push my wood through, it doesn't come here and hit up against that. I don't want any issues here. Another thing I have to do to make sure that this thing is straight is I take my triangle square and I put it up with this end flat against this edge here. So once I have that, I put it up against my 2x4, and if I have no gaps, which I do not, we are totally square. So now that I have no space over here, I'm gonna check the other side as well and make sure that I'm flat. And again, no gaps, so we are square, which guarantees you a straight line. Because otherwise, if you cut it diagonally in any way, even if it's like a few degrees, your table will be, instead of straight, it'll be like that. And I don't want that. I want that. I stopped playing with him for a second and he's giving me this face. Y'all help me. Bro, you're killing me. By the way, I just got done cutting these, so that's an idea of what it's gonna look like at the end. This little child, oh my gosh, this face. Come here, buddy. What's up? What's up? Just over and over, huh? Forever? Let me throw it again. What's your name, dude? Come here, come here, let's see. Let's see, you ain't got no tags, though. What? What is it? What is it? What is it? Huh? What's the problem? This is all you do. Make sure you got one big long straight line and make sure each one is put back in the same place. I numbered 1 through 4. That's because these aren't quite exact measurements. They don't exactly fit is what I mean. I know they fit where they're at now, so I measure them, mark them, and put them at the same place once I'm done cutting them. So now just make your cuts. So like I said, I had to move this clamp from this end to this end over here. Anytime you make an adjustment to these at all, remeasure and make sure that you're square again. Because I'm off just a bit, and every little adjustment can change or be the difference between a straight line and a diagonal line. So I've checked both sides to make sure they're square, and I've adjusted my clamps so that when I put my 2x4s through, I won't have any issues when it comes to like anything being in the way. So now let's make our cuts. Probably be a good idea if I plug my table saw. You can't do nothing without that electrician, my D. Okay, we're good. I about forgot. This right here, I wish I remember what it's called. Maybe a pull or a push stick thing. I don't know. Use this when you're cutting this wood. My dumb used to literally do this right here with my hand and get that close to the blade. It's a great way to cut your face off, or your hand. I mean, when you're pushing this through, use this so that you can push it like that instead of with your hand like that. So if you cut your hand off after watching this video, it wasn't because of me. Let me know if I'm explaining too much or too little. I don't want to be redundant or like waste y'all's time at all. Cut her up there, Bo. So this is the cut side, which actually in this case looks a little bit better. So I may end up sanding this and using it for the top instead of this, because what I was thinking is this live edging would blend in with the live edging that's already on the table, but we'll see what we do here. I forgot to mention, wear safety glasses. Don't be like my dog. I have glasses, these aren't safety glasses, but they're better than nothing, I guess. But I still get shit in my eyes, so wear safety glasses. Okay, back to cutting. Too dusty in here. Okay, so I have them all cut out. We have our width, we have our length, we have our width as well, 1 inch. All right, here's number 4. 3, we're going backwards. Dos, or wait, and then here's 1. So now that we have everything flat, I'm gonna use 80 grit sandpaper again to get the top of this. I talked about doing 220 last time. That is what makes the wood just a little bit more fine, actually a lot more fine. I'm not gonna do that because I like the way this, I'm okay with the smoothness here. I don't have splinters, I don't have a big indentation, I don't have anything super bad to worry about. So 80 grit will be perfectly fine. Another thing that's important, I hope you can see this. I have, yes, right here, I have a saw mark, okay? And what happens there is like, as this thing is pushed this way, so you get those little markings, and I definitely want to make sure to get those out. So now let's sand her up there, but where's my sander? There it is. Another thing, replace your sandpaper every once in a while. The more coarse this is, the more wood it's gonna take off, and you tear it up every time you sand. Mine's still okay right now, but I'm gonna replace it here in a little bit. It is freezing. A whole 35 degrees. What am I doing out here? So now, instead of pledge, we pray. 1, 4. These are my 15 inchers. I came over, I don't remember what this was. It was, I don't know, but it's gonna be the same here, so that everything is, it has that uniform look to it, you know? But this time, instead of measuring every hole I did like I did last time, I'm gonna make what's called a jig. A jig allows you to very quickly place something on top of your wood. It lines up the holes for you, like it's super, super fast. So we will make it out of this thing right here. So I'm gonna measure this distance and this distance. So I'll make the jig out of this thing, find my measurements, drill 2 holes. We are 3/4 over, I hope you can see that. And like I said, we're about 7/8 up from the top there. So I'm gonna find that mark and put my pencil there, and I'm not gonna move it. And then I'm gonna come over here, then I'm gonna slide my square up to my pencil. And again, I make sure that this right here is flat against this edge of the wood there. Once I do that and I have it against my 7/8 mark, I just adjust my pencil to where 3/4 is. I come back to 3/4, and I'm just gonna make a mark right here. And I'm also gonna make a mark, or I'm gonna also do the exact same thing over here. So find my 7/8, I'm gonna go to 3/4 again, and that's where my mark is going to be for that. The most important thing to do when making your jig is that your measurements are exact. You want this thing to fit perfectly, because anything off at all is gonna throw every screw you put in off. I'm gonna make sure I'm flush, and I'm flush right here, and I'm flush right there as well. I can put my jig on perfectly like this, and then when I drill these holes on both ends, as long as nothing moves while I'm drilling, I'll have the exact same thing every single time, and it's basically like a machine. Like, it takes the human error out of it, my dad says, which is exactly what you want to do, because the less human error, the better and the more quality the more better everything your furniture will end up being. Okay, so we have our 2 holes here, I can take my face, put my jig on top of my face, and literally drill, and I will have the same holes throughout every face of my end table. Make sure you are flush with every side. And once you're flush with every side, put something heavy or hold it down, and then you can go ahead and make. Okay, so the pros would have like made sure that this wasn't 1.5 inches so that you can get all the way through on your holes. I don't know if you can see that, but I didn't go all the way through. But I do have my markings. So the point of a jig is to make things quicker. And in this case, I've made things slightly quicker. I need to make them a little more quick. So this right here is a thin piece from what's left over from these pieces that I had just cut out. So all I'm gonna do is, this is gonna end up being my jig. I'm just gonna put this down, put my jig on top of it. This dog keeps giving me this, and good lord, he's chewed it to pieces. Now we have something thin enough that our drill bit can get all the way through on top of our facing over here. That was the idea there. So just like before, I'm gonna line her up, and it's gonna be the same thing. We have our holes, so now let's figure out an even spacing. What I think I want to do is have these at the end, and then we will deal with the spacing in the middle ones. So I will kind of just eyeball stuff. I'm not gonna worry about making it perfectly mathematically correct. I'm just not worried about that. So I'm gonna make them as symmetrical as I can by eyeballing them. Those 3 even lines, does it look even? Okay, screw it, let's measure and not make it wrong. Don't be lazy, Logan. Alright, so what I have here is, that's 1/4. Just less than 1/4, that's a little strange. I'll tell you what, we just gonna eyeball it. I ain't even worried about it. I'm okay with that, I guess. That's better. Start with your gloves, you don't want stain all over your hands. I'm gonna start with the pre-stain. And I talked about this in my last video, but I'll mention it again. You leave it on, you put it on just like you would stain, and you leave it on for 15 minutes or so. Wait until it dries. It's like 30 degrees, so it's gonna take a while for this to dry. Losing my mind. This is what takes me so long to do shit, is because I'm not organized, so I just, they're on the floor. It's all good. Dip her in there and then rub it on the wood. It's not hard. It's very, very simple. The only thing you want to make sure is that you don't have any dust on your wood. So this one has been pre-stained, this one has not. You can tell it brings the grain out a little bit more. It makes it a little more dark. That carries over once it's dried. I'm gonna let that sit for about 15 minutes, let it dry. I wish I knew whose dog this was. Oh God, I can't throw. We're gonna stain next. Open your can. Careful, SpongeBob! I don't have anything like in terms of something to put this stain down on, so I'm just gonna use an old sock. It don't matter what you use, bro. I'm pretty cool with that, yeah. And before I drill her in, I want to make sure I'm flat all the way across. Seems like I am. So we will go ahead and drill her in. Playing fetch the whole time. He's awesome, yeah. It's okay, child. Relax. Hey, it's all good. It's okay. She's scared of the garage for some reason. Weirdo. Dang. So now that we have that done, all I want to do is, I want to do a little bit before we polyurethane it. I've got some things to fix. You can see this line right here, obviously this whole panel here is it's diagonal. So I'm gonna take these 2 screws out, I'm gonna adjust it, and I'm gonna put them back in. Okay, so I don't know necessarily if there is a right way to do this part. Is drop my camera, zoom her in there, boy. Our table around. So now all I gotta do is, I'm not gonna go overkill, I'm just gonna get it to where if you rub your finger over it, it's about as smooth as the top here. Not really trying to make it perfect, because if I do this live edging is all the way across. If I keep going, I'm gonna get rid of that live edging. I don't want to do that. So now that we have that done, we're gonna have to, okay, so you sand, and when you sand, you take the stain off. So you have to, so you have to restain that. So I'll restain all the way down to the bottom, and go ahead and get these little, mess ups like I was saying earlier. It's very heavy, but like I said, in the very, very first part of this, when you make things by hand, this will not break. I could stand like 10 of me on top of this thing, I bet you, and it would still be just fine because it's so strong. Hey, don't mess with my camera, bro. I need to chill. This here is just clear satin, which means you're gonna get like more of a matte finish. It's not gonna be very shiny. I have this semi-gloss right here, which is what we're gonna use for this today. It's like in between matte and shiny. And then my favorite, which is gloss, which I don't have any here today. It's kind of hard to put on, but it looks the best in my opinion. It kind of gives it that shine. I am not no scientist, but spray on plastic, I guess, if that makes sense. It's like liquid plastic. You're putting this protective barrier over the wood so that, like, if you spill something on it or whatever, it's not gonna hurt the wood. It makes it last, instead of like 50 years or so, it's gonna make it last like 100, 150 years or some crazy. Don't quote me on that because I don't know technically what it is, I'm just ballparking it. The point is, it's gonna last you so much longer. This is like the easiest part, I feel like, because you're basically just spray painting. So first, you want to do this in like 70-degree weather. You don't want to be out here like my dumb in 30-degree weather, because it's gonna take forever to dry. I have put these on, and it's like one coat takes a full 24 hours in this cold to dry, which is just extremely inefficient. I can't help this, but we're gonna just put a ton on. Hopefully it'll only need 1 or 2 more coats. I'll have to come back to it tomorrow and put those coats on, but you'll see how I do it. It's literally just like spray paint. So you just go, well, I'll show you here. Shake it up like crazy. Go across like this, from one end to the other. Just over and over and over and over and over. Honestly, read the directions before you listen to my dumb, because I'm just doing what works for me in the temperatures that I'm dealing with here. Okay, buddy, I gotta go home now, okay? I'm done, but I will do one more, okay? Good boy, good boy, good boy. Okay, I gotta go home. I'll see you later, okay? Okay, so it's day 2. My polyurethane has dried, so I think it was pretty solid. This video is already way longer than I anticipated, so I'm gonna just go ahead and call it. I will put a few more coats on here, and I'll post the final thing, like to Instagram, I guess, and Twitter, but it's basically gonna look like this. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty freaking well. I'm happy with it. We're got that live edging going on at the top. That's cool. Corners are a little beveled, So yeah, I will end it on me polyurethaning, and thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna figure out a some sort of formula so that my videos aren't so long, because I know this is kind of insane. So we're working with it. Give me some time. We'll figure it out and get better. So, because I'm not trying to waste you guys' time. That's like the number one thing. I don't want to waste y'all's time. So yeah. Thanks for watching.